I need to tell you something today that I've never said out loud. Not in public, not in a video, not in a podcast, not even in the most private conversation. And I want to be honest with you about why I haven't said it. Not because I didn't know, because I was protecting someone else's comfort at the expense of my own truth. That ends today. A few years ago, a television show won a Telly Award. For those who don't know, the Telly Award is one of the most recognized honors in video and television production. It's not a small thing. It's the kind of recognition that gets put on websites, mentioned in bios, used to open doors. I am a Telly Award-winning co-executive producer on that show. And what nobody knows, what I've never told anyone publicly until this moment, is that the concept at the heart of the award-winning work came directly from my coaching, from my intellectual property, from a framework I developed years ago working one-on-one with clients, helping them remove the mask they wore to survive in rooms that were never built for them. Take the mask off. That's mine. And a television show won an award with it. And the world never knew where it came from. I'm not telling you this to start a fire. I am telling you this because I spent 9 days teaching you that your intellectual property is your most valuable asset. And today, I realized I needed to live that truth out loud before I could ask you to. So here we are, day 9. And this is the most important video in the series. Not because of the award, but because of what it cost me to stay silent. And what it's going to cost you if you don't claim what's yours. 9 days. We have been on a journey together that I didn't fully anticipate when I started. Day 1, the institution is not safe. Day 2, the hiding pattern inside of you. Day 3, the 5 assets you already own. Day 4, the packaging framework. Day 5, 18 income streams hiding in what you know. Day 6, the SAM formula. Day 7, the story is your intellectual property. Day 8, the core offer framework. And today, day 9, I'm going to talk about the thing that sits between knowing all of that and actually doing something with it. I call it the activation gap. It is the distance, sometimes inches, sometimes miles, between knowing your worth and actually getting paid for it. Between understanding that your expertise is valuable and actually building something that monetizes it. Between recognizing that your intellectual property belongs to you and actually claiming it publicly. That gap is not a knowledge gap. You have the knowledge, 9 days of it. It is not a strategy gap. You have the frameworks, the packaging, the income streams, the offer architecture. The activation gap is the courage gap. And today I'm going to show you exactly what it costs to leave it uncrossed. Not in theory, but in my own life. Let me tell you what the activation gap looks like from the inside. It doesn't look like fear, not obviously. It doesn't look like doubt, not on the surface. From the outside, from every angle anyone else could see, it looks like professionalism. It looks like being a team player. It looks like generosity. It looks like being someone who cares more about the work than the credit. It looks like the kind of person that rooms full of powerful people love to have around because you make everything better and never make it about yourself. That is what the activation gap looks like from the outside. From the inside, it feels like holding your breath for years. I've spent decades being the architect behind things that bear other people's names. I helped generate over 250 million in revenue for other people's businesses. I was Rookie of the Year at Keep, formerly Infusionsoft, one of the most respected CRM and automation platforms in the industry. Out of an entire ecosystem of practitioners, they recognized me as the best new voice they'd seen. I also received their Automation Champion Award. And for years, those credentials lived quietly in the background of work I was doing for other people's visions, other people's platforms, other people's brands. I was world class at building things, and I kept building them for everyone except myself. And then the television show happened, and I watched a concept that came directly from my coaching, a framework I had developed, refined, and used to transform clients, become the heart of an award-winning production. And nobody knew. And I didn't say anything. Because here's what the activation gap tells you in those moments. It's not worth the conflict. It's not worth disrupting the relationship. It's not worth being seen as difficult. It's not worth making it about you. And here's what the activation gap doesn't tell you, what it deliberately hides from you. Every time you don't claim what's yours, you teach the world that your work is available for free. Every time you let someone else take the credit, you confirm the story that your contribution is supplementary, not central. Every time you protect someone else's comfort at the expense of your own truth, you make yourself smaller, not once, permanently, until you decide to stop. I'm deciding to stop today, on camera, in front of however many people are watching you. Because the cost of staying silent is higher than the discomfort of speaking. And I need you to understand that, really understand it before I give you the framework. Because the framework is easy. The decision to use it is the hard part. And I'm not going to pretend otherwise. I want to talk about why this happens to brilliant people specifically. Because the activation gap is not a problem of mediocrity. It is a problem of excellence. Here's what I mean. The people most likely to give their best ideas away, most likely to be the uncredited source behind someone else's win, are almost always the most capable people in the room. Because capability creates access. You get invited into high-level rooms because you are extraordinary. And once you're in those rooms, the implicit agreement is that your excellence belongs to the mission of the room, not to you, to the room. And if you're a Black woman in those rooms, if you are already navigating the tax that comes with being the only one or one of the very few, the pressure to be indispensable without being inconvenient is not imagined. It's structural. You learned very quickly that there is a specific way to be powerful without threatening people. Contribute abundantly. Take credit sparingly. Make it look effortless. Never let them feel like they need you too much, or they'll find a reason to need you less. That is the calculus of survival in rooms that weren't built for you. And it works until it doesn't. Until you realize that survival in someone else's room is not the same as building your own. Until you realize that the ideas flowing freely out of you into other people's projects are the exact same ideas that could be building your own legacy. Until you sit across from a television set and watch something you created, unnamed, win an award. And you have to decide you're going to do it with that moment. I chose silence for a long time. Today I'm choosing something different. And I want to tell you what made the difference, because it wasn't a mindset shift. It wasn't a breakthrough coaching session. It wasn't even this series, though this series accelerated it. It was a simple calculation. Your intellectual property is as valuable and more times more valuable than real estate. Think about that. Real estate is the most universally respected form of wealth building in this country, especially in our communities. Home ownership, property, something you can pass down. But real estate requires capital to acquire. Real estate requires maintenance. Real estate can be foreclosed on. Real estate can depreciate. Your intellectual property, you already own it. It costs you nothing to acquire because you lived into it. Nobody can foreclose on what lives in your mind and your experience. And unlike real estate, it appreciates every time you teach it, every time you package it, every time you license it, every time someone builds their life on the frameworks you created. Real estate sits on land. Your intellectual property sits on a lifetime of lived experience that no market crash, no recession, no restructuring, no algorithm can touch. And yet, most people treat their intellectual property like spare change. They give it away in conversations. They donate it in meetings. They let it walk out the door in someone else's briefcase and call it being generous. It is not generosity. It is the most expensive habit you have. I want to give you 3 specific moves that close the activation gap. Not mindset hacks, not affirmations, moves, decisions, actions. Move 1. Name it before somebody else does. The single most powerful thing you can do to protect your intellectual property is to name it publicly before it has the chance to travel without you. When you name a concept, when you say, I call this the secret weapon syndrome, or this is the no net worth framework, or this is the automate and delegate principle, you are doing something that has legal, commercial, and psychological significance simultaneously. You're planting a flag. You are saying this came from me, and it has a name. The name is mine. The thought leadership researchers publishing right now are consistent on this. Named ideas are harder for others to pass along without attribution. When your concept has a name, a specific, ownable, memorable name, it carries your identity with it every time it travels. An unnamed idea is just an idea. A named idea is intellectual property. The concept I developed around removing the mask people wear to survive in hostile environments, that had a name. Take the mask off. The moment it traveled without me, it traveled without the name. And without the name, there was no trail back to the source. Name your concepts today, out loud, in public. Whatever framework you use repeatedly in your work, name it. Whatever principle you teach your clients, name it. Whatever system you've built that solves a problem no one else can solve quite the way you can, name it. Give it a name before the world gives it to someone else. Move 2. Document before you share. This is the automate then delegate principle applied to intellectual property protection. Before you share your framework in a room, in a collaboration, in a partnership, document it, write it down, date it, put it somewhere with a timestamp. Not because you're preparing for a lawsuit, because documentation is the difference between a claim that you can make and a claim that you can prove. The entertainment law research publishing right now is saying something that applies far beyond Hollywood. Demonstrating ownership requires documentation. In the age of AI, where the question of who created what is increasingly contested, the ability to show when you first developed an idea in your own words, in your own hand, with a date attached, that is your protection. A journal entry, an email to yourself, a dated document in your Google Drive. The shoemakers from day 7, Antonio documented. Bartholomew didn't. Document before you share. every time. I can tell you that take the mask off is documented for years in my coaching sessions that are recorded in my OneDrive. Move 3, charge before the discomfort passes. This is the one most people skip. And it's the one that determines whether the first 2 moves actually change your financial reality or just your sense of justice. Here's what I watched happen over and over. Someone finally names their framework. They can start talking about it publicly. They feel the shift. They feel the clarity of owning what they've always known. And then they wait. They wait until it feels comfortable to charge. They wait until they feel established enough. They wait until the imposter syndrome quiets down. They wait until someone else tells them they're ready. And in the waiting, they give it away again. The research on high-ticket buying behavior is unanimous. The qualification process itself communicates value. The moment you put a price on something, a real price, a price that reflects the actual transformation value, you are telling the market what it's worth. The market believes you. The moment you give it away, you tell the market it's worth nothing. The market believes that too. Charge before the discomfort passes. Not after you feel ready. Not after the imposter syndrome quiets. Not after you get more followers, more testimonials, more permission from the world. Charge while it's still slightly terrifying. Because that terror is the signal that you are finally pricing your actual value and not at that discounted version you've been offering to protect other people's comfort. I want to talk about what it actually feels like to stand up in your full power. Because I think most people imagine it feels triumphant, like a movie moment, swelling music, everything clicking into place. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like this. It feels like sitting in front of a camera and saying something you've never said, knowing that the people connected to that story will hear it, knowing that some feelings will be hurt, knowing that some relationships might shift, knowing that the version of you that kept the peace is being replaced by the version of you that tells the truth, and choosing to do it anyway. Not because you're angry, not because you want to burn anything down, but because you finally did the math. And the cost of your silence, measured in unclaimed credit, unreceived income, unlicensed IP, and years of being the invisible source behind visible things, is higher than the discomfort of speaking. Standing in your full power is not a feeling. It is a decision. And the decision has a moment. A specific moment where you know if you let it pass, you will find a reason to stay quiet again. This video is my moment, and I'm choosing not to let it pass. Now I want to ask you, what is your moment? What is the thing you know? The framework, the concept, the idea, the contribution that has been traveling the world without your name attached to it? What is the claim you've been preparing to make but haven't made yet? What is the price you know you should be charging but haven't charged because the discomfort hasn't passed yet? Your moment is here. The series is your mirror. And the only question left is whether you're going to let it change something or whether you're going to close this tab and go back to being the best kept secret in every room you walk into. I built KnowNet, the book, and the incubator because I needed them to exist. Not for you first, for me. Because I needed a framework that said, what you know is worth more than what anyone has paid you for it. And here's exactly how to change that. The book is $29.99. Free shipping. Ebook immediately. Everything I've been teaching in this series with exercises, with frameworks, with the full methodology is in there. Link is in the description. And Trailblazers is the room where the activation gap gets closed. Not by inspiration, by execution, by naming your framework, building your offer, launching your first income stream, and doing it inside of a community of people who are doing the same work alongside of you, with coaching to call out what you can't see about yourself yet. Founding price is $2,000. After 50 seats, it goes to $6,000. The Clarity Call link is in the description. 20 minutes, real conversation. Come ready to tell me what you're sitting on, and I'll help you see what it's worth. Some feelings are going to get hurt by this video. I know that. I made peace with it before I hit record. Because here's what I know. What 9 days of this series and 30 years of lived experience have made undeniable to me. The people whose feelings get hurt by your truth are almost always the people who benefited from your silence. And their comfort is not worth your legacy. Your intellectual property is worth more than real estate. Your story is worth more than a salary. Your frameworks are worth more than the free consulting you've been giving away in conversations that left you tired and then thriving. And you, the full version of you, the uncensored version, the version that has been waiting for permission that was never coming. You are worth more than the version you've been presenting to protect everyone else's feelings. And you, the full version of you, the uncensored version, the version that has been waiting for permission that was never coming. You are worth more than the version you've been presenting to protect everyone else's feelings. Stand up, claim what's yours, charge what it's worth. And if anyone has a problem with it, let them. Come back tomorrow, day 10. We're going to talk about visibility as a revenue strategy and why being seen is not a personality trait. It's a business decision. Share this video, not for me, for the person in your network who has been the uncredited source behind someone else's win and doesn't yet know they have the right to change that. They need to hear this today. Let's go.